Welcome back to Game Devs Play Games, where we play games, game design, and we're back with more of the Beginner's Guide. I was going to say the Beginner's Saga.
I was like, that's not the name.
That's not right.
You are now entering.
So if we ever take any random moments where we pause, just know it's me getting motion sick and me requesting that we pause.
Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the nature of experimental games, right?
Yeah,
is that you tend to do things
Coda
really
would put
short
bizarre
bursts.
titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him.
Wow.
And I don't agree
people
with
like that
at
all in or all out.
What are you gonna do?
It's not a bad way of being, though. I feel like that's often the artist's conundrum of like, this is just garbage and throw it away.
Or just say, oh, I'm done with this game for now, even though it's not completed. You're just like, oh, that's that.
It's
getting hard to walk.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Well, the door hasn't opened yet. Oh, I guess it has.
Yes, it has. Whoa.
A game where you collect all the items except game automatically quits
when you collect them all.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with
You
little
touch all the walls,
ideas
that's right.
for
You're
games.
giving them out all. So you're trying to eat you sabotage, you're trying to eat the sharks. So at a small moment to your eyes, you can just walk through the walls.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Ah, that's kind of a fun way of portraying that too. You know, like, it's... I think this little game represents that very well because all those little ideas are a representation of Coda.
Yeah.
And so, like, getting to the top of the stairs, even though it's the slow climb, like, that's... Seeing that representation of him is what takes time.
It's interesting.
Yeah, all these little games have a lot of personality to them.
Yeah, they really do. It's like I want to play them.
It reminds me a lot of a designer that I used to work with a lot and still do game jams with.
Yeah.
But he makes a lot of like little short burst games, kind of akin to things like this. And it's like,
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
You did it. Ooh.
Maybe I didn't do it.
It looks like you can kind of see the smoke a little bit.
Yeah, so going this way?
Maybe. Unless you could, like, pull the lever again from the inside. Can you reach it from in there? Oh, there's a lever on the other side.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
Okay, so it's on the other side. So there is some actual gameplay to this. You're tricking me, man. I'm gonna have to be good at something.
I mean, that's not totally surprising, right? Because we're seeing, like, the beginning, and we're going to see things get more complex. Which, in a weird way, actually is a good way to make a biographical game, because the developer's not only getting better and better,
you walk
but...
down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Whoa.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world.
Yeah, right?
Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I mean, to me, it says that the games he's making aren't for the player, it's for him.
It's for himself, right? It feels like you are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game.
You know what's funny?
There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
I'm interested why I picked the name Coda, because Coda in music is like when you go back to something.
I mean, that almost seems appropriate.
Yeah, right?
Even in that one level where it was like her back is always facing the future.
Yep.
Like, I feel like that's going to be a reoccurring
Let's talk about
theme.
video game development for a second.
Oh.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. And one of the
like
things
making
that it
Chris
does very
motion
well
sick.
is boxy linear corridors.
I'm okay.
That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
This is cool to look at, though.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making.
You die?
Consider paying attention
I
to
don't
the
know if I'm
architecture in Coda's games.
No, okay.
Notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
So cool.
I've actually made some levels in Source.
Yeah, how'd you like it?
It's, I mean, it's not as streamlined as something like Unity.
Yeah.
But I think it's really good for the developers making the games that they are.
I want to get in there. I want to touch whatever that is. But I can't. You can see there's that little layer of...
like a glass layer.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though. But it's a complicated system that's not very intuitive, but if you know what you're doing, it probably does things very well.
Well, that's fair. Unity's a little more streamlined.
Yeah, Unity does a lot of babysitting for the designers, but it's also a system made for designers, whereas Source is made for a development team. Not that Unity isn't, I think it's just Unity is best for designers, first and foremost.
Oh, that's cool. I can't tell. I didn't even realize that this was a... Oh, you can't go that way. So... Oh, I had to go this way.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut
for
a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Wow. I feel like you can learn a lot about a person from the kind of games they make.
Oh, absolutely. Especially experimental games. Because, like, and this is one reason why I kind of want to, like, when we're done with the games that we're working on now, I want to spend some time working on my own little experimental games for a while. Not only to like further myself as a developer, but like to see what I can make. That's one of those things too that really shows.
This was in another level.
Yeah.
Before. That's another door with the latch.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Well, I feel like it's something to do about, going back and doing the same thing. I think Coda likes doing something where you do the same thing over and over again.
Or at least like he's found those mechanics or those tricks that he is reiterating in different ways and seeing like how he can use them. Or maybe it's like a mechanic or a challenge that he identifies with.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the buttons on your gamepad to respond.
So that's the left bumper, right bumper, and thumbstick that we configured.
Yes, stamp with whiteness. Yes, there was enormous business. Yes, there was a...
Kind of talking away from the microphone.
Yes, there was a rolled stamp with whiteness. Yes, there was enormous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there were these floating colored blocks. I'm going to go with floating colored blocks. Speak. With rolled above. You've been there. Now, this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean...
I prefer to not tell you.
Yeah.
Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how you get to the other side.
Oh.
Trust me, you don't want to go over there. You should read out loud.
We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. Sorry. I promise you, there's nothing I want more.
Oh, interesting. So it like changes their face if they're listening or...
Yeah, they're speaking.
I think this is a good point to call it for this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely interesting, and I like how things are getting slowly more and more complex. I also find it interesting how it's like, this is the game he made, but remade in a different game, and then streamlined for like game playability, I guess?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
And I'm still wondering if Coda's even a real person, right? Because this could just be a story talking about a developer, or this could even be like Coda is the developer of this game, and it's like a reimagining of his original games as he grew into being a developer.
That's fair. I mean, that's very fair, and it's so interesting just to kind of get to explore these worlds, and they're so meaningful in their short, in their short time you're in them.
So maybe question of the day is we should talk about experimental games.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe share like what are some experimental games that you guys might have worked on, or maybe if you haven't even worked on the game, right? Maybe what kind of experimental game would you work on if you had the chance?
Yeah.
If you could do anything.
And I feel like with experimental games, it just says so much about who you are as a person. Because it's so much about creativity at the end of the day. It's so much about being you. It's interesting.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for watching, everyone.
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, comment on the question of the day, and please vote for what you want to see next. Whether it's more of this game or one of the other awesome games we have up there. But until then, we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.